the end of Halloween 4, the Shape is blasted by the state police and falls into a deep, dark mine shaft. There's no way Michael could survive. Right?
So now came the Halloween 4. Went back to the basics of Haddonfield, Michael Myers, the whole thing, and the film hit. I mean, we had 2 weeks in the nation, #1, and all this. So, being drunk with this success, so we started on 5 right away.
Okay, here we go.
Halloween 5 was about a year later, and I hadn't really thought about a sequel until I got the script. It wasn't really on my mind. I had kind of moved on to other things since then. I read the script. I had a feeling, I was curious to see kind of Rachel's demise, because you knew it was coming. I mean, to live through 4, you're not going to live long in 5.
Halloween 5 was directed by French filmmaker Dominique Othenin-Girard.
We're very close to the formula and the setup of Halloween 1. Suspense, horror are the 2 ingredients, but basically suspense, very little horror, but extremely violent at times.
To be honest, at that point, I'd never really seen any of the Halloween films, and when I realized I was going to be shooting Halloween 5, I thought I better whip out and see Halloweens 1 through 4. The whole style basically came about because he wanted to give it a European sort of approach, and largely that's what I went for in the lighting, with not using a lot of backlight and letting shadows fall right off and getting really dark and contrasty and making it extremely naturalistic.
The film reunited Ellie Cornell's Rachel with another audience favorite, little Jamie.
I'll be back in 2 days.
The character Jamie differs from Halloween 4 from Halloween 5. In Halloween 4, she's younger and she doesn't know very much about this guy, her uncle, and she's just mainly running from him and trying to get away from this killer, boogeyman, nightmare man, whatever you want to call him. And in Halloween 5, she knows a little more about him. She knows what he can do. She knows more things to do to him. She's smarter now, and she knows ways to capture him and to get him put away, and she's just more mature.
I was like a kid in a candy store. I mean, it was fun for me, tasting fake blood and seeing how they did all the prosthetics and Don Shanks or, George Wilbur, whichever one from 4 or 5, running around chasing me with knives. It was all fun and games for me. Everything was explained while I was doing it, so I was never freaked out.
Danielle Harris may be the only person to ever really grow up in Haddonfield, Illinois.
Halloween 4, I was 10. I had my 11th birthday on the set. And then Halloween 5, I was 11, had my 12th birthday on set. And I was a baby.
The town of Haddonfield was played by Salt Lake City, Utah.
Michael's house was in a sort of a nice suburb in Salt Lake City, and the house had just been newly renovated. And because along comes the movie crew, and the first thing we do is put the family in a hotel, take all the furniture out, and totally trash the house.
Your house, Michael. What is going on here?
Also back in the action was series icon Donald Pleasance.
I was kind of in awe of him because of the body of work that he's done, and it was one of those things where I really felt like I was making a Halloween film when he came on set.
Michael Myers is outside.
Donald was so nice to me. He really is a very kind, wonderful man, was a very kind, wonderful man. I remember when I was doing Halloween 5, I had a smaller trailer, and he'd only worked the first 2 weeks of the film, and I had another couple of weeks to go. And he gave me his big, huge motorhome when he left. He's like, you can have it, I want you to stay in it. I'll make sure that they keep it for you. And I was 11 in some, 45-foot Winnebago, thinking that I'm this big movie star.
Hey, let's not get too warm and fuzzy. This is a Halloween film.
She's down here in the middle of the old house.
The first time you put the mask on, you become Michael Myers. And they wouldn't let me put the mask on unless I was ready to do a scene. We tried walking onto the set with the mask on, but then, we got a lot of flack from the neighborhoods. Kids would see me walking down the sidewalk and, they'd get scared.
They weren't the only ones.
Mr. Shanks was huge physically, so playing the fear thing was not that difficult. But he was very, very sweet, very professional, and I just remember being really impressed by his physical presence. And that really struck me. I didn't realize how small I was. Do you know what I mean? It's like I thought I was a normal-sized person. I realized I was kind of small, and he was a huge guy.
George Wilbur actually had to wear a big, like a hockey guard, I think it is, you know, to make himself look, you know, bigger. And Don was just bigger. He didn't have to wear anything underneath. He was just a very large man.
Danielle, she was my buddy. I mean, I got to work with her a lot. And we got to be good friends. And I always felt bad that I was chasing her, trying to kill her.
But playing Michael wasn't without risks.
We have one scene where I'm coming down the river. I get blown out of a mine shaft. Where we were filming it, the water was 34 degrees. We had a set of rapids right after the dock, so I had to catch the net. If I didn't, I was into the rapids and there was no way they could really pull me out. So it was one of those things where I had to hit my marks. There's no ventilation in the mask whatsoever. There's netting over the eyes you can't see, and it's almost like being in a chamber. You can't breathe, it's hot, it's miserable, and when you're doing an action scene, I could only go for so long and then I'd have to rip it off because I couldn't breathe. It's not all sunglasses and limousines.
On this project, Don Shanks went from water to fire.
The scene where Michael's driving the car. How he got his driver's license, I'm not really sure. But anyway, he's chasing Danielle, and he takes the car and he wraps it around a tree. Well, I hit this tree about 50 miles an hour, and Dominic wasn't really into the action stuff, hadn't dealt with that too much. And what we were supposed to do was I'd come in, hit the tree, the bomb would go off, and then I would, it would be a cut. So we did the scene, I ran in, hit the tree, and I'm waiting for the cut, and it doesn't come. And one thing you learn in film business is you don't stop until they say cut. And so I'm watching and waiting, and the car's catching on fire, and I don't hear cut. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not getting out of here. And I didn't have my fire gear on, and the fire's coming underneath the firewall, and it's getting a little hotter and a little hotter. And finally I hear Don Pike, who was a stunt coordinator, said, when are you going to yell cut? And Dominic was just so enthralled with what was going on that he forgot where he was or what he was doing and didn't say cut. And finally I hear cut, and I got out.
Later in the film, Michael is ambushed by Dr. Loomis, and the man inside the mask paid a price.
Dr. Loomis takes a 2x4 and starts beating me with it. And they were actually whacking me with it. He broke my nose in one part of it. So he was going to town.
Halloween 4 had the rooftop chase. 5 had the laundry chute sequence.
One of the most difficult scenes to shoot was the laundry chute scene. The way we went about that was quite ingenious. We storyboarded the entire scene out and then section by section broke it down to what set pieces we would need. Some of them we had a 15-foot section of laundry chute that we could shoot down and dolly the camera down on a little skateboard that was just lying flat. Other parts we had vertical with the flip-out part of the laundry chute, so we could shoot out of that and pull the back off it and shoot Danielle climbing in or getting out, or shoot Don Shanks, looking down. Other parts we had cutaway sections. We had some sections that actually moved and rolled. And I think there were 30 separate pieces that went into that laundry chute. And over a period of one night, we shot that entire laundry chute scene. It's a pretty amazing sequence.
I think I was like 4'3", maybe 65 pounds. I managed to find a way to wedge myself in there, and it was me actually climbing up in it. Like I managed to get up all the way up into the top of the laundry chute when he was stabbing through it. And he was stabbing through with a real knife, and I had my legs up. And actually, we shot a piece of a scene in Halloween 5 where he stabs through the laundry chute right into my leg, right into my calf. and they had a fake leg that was put in there, and they stabbed it and blood went spurting everywhere, and it was so gross they couldn't keep it in the movie. So if you watch Halloween 5, you'll see when I exit the laundry chute, I have blood all over my leg and I'm limping because, because of that, but they cut it out. And I actually have in storage the fake leg from Halloween 5.
All good things must come to an end, just like Rachel Carruthers.
I didn't like the way the death of Rachel Carruthers was written, and it was, you know, she was to get scissors down her throat, and I just thought that was kind of undignified for such a nice girl. I just thought it was too, you know, too over the top. So they rewrote it and presented it again, and you know, she just gets him in the old pumper. So. No! What I kind of grappled with and what I didn't know how to anticipate was the death scene. You know, just how do you play death and what's it going to feel like? It's hard to kind of shake off and go, okay, that was a day's work, you know.
I think one of the things maybe we felt sorry is that we killed Ellie in the first few minutes of the film. I think we should kept Ellie going on and on because she was very popular.
Halloween 5 is also famous for introducing a new mystery to the series.
I was wondering, you have to ask Mustafa, who the man is with the hat and the tattoo and the silver tip boots. Because I haven't figured it out.
Oh, who was the man? Well, I mean, we didn't know ourselves.
It's very strange. I don't know where he came from. I always wondered that.
There was a couple of different theories, but one was that it was going to be Michael Myers' twin brother. And that's why they had me do both parts at some point. We had another guy who did it when I was working, but there was different theories. You know, none of it really came to fruition, I guess.
Here, seen for the first time, is a sequence shot but never used for the open of Halloween 5. Over a decade later, Halloween 5 still lasts with the people who made it.
I feel like I'm kind of a little piece of cinematic history, just a little tiny sliver. We were very, very proud of the work we did. And I was thankful because it was a whole lot of different sets of experiences packed into, you know, 2 little shoots. I learned a whole lot.
Everyone treated me as an adult, which was really nice, which I've actually been treated, those movies, I think to date, I've probably been treated the best.
Well, I had a really good time doing the movie, and to this day, I still go out and do personal appearances. People love the movie. They watch it over and over and over. They know the movie better than I do, and I was there.
I would love to be in one again. I mean, I think it would be great. I look the same.